Mark Davis, for his part, he spoke earlier today to Paul Gutierrez of ESPN.com. I don't know if it was one-on-one or if it was a collection of individuals, but Gutierrez is the one who reported it. And so many times you'll see someone say, I have no comment, and then they'll keep talking. And that's what Davis did. I have no comment. Ask the NFL. They have all the answers. And within that, 2 extra sentences, ask the NFL. They have all the answers, I think is a fair assessment of what Mark Davis is thinking about this situation. And it confirms much of what I believe as to how this happened, Myles. The NFL wanted to cajole the Raiders into firing Jon Gruden or to get Gruden to resign in lieu of being fired. They sent an initial folder of materials to the Raiders on Friday. That did not do the trick. More were sent on Monday. That did not do the trick. Eventually, certain emails were leaked to the New York Times. That did the trick. I personally believe that Mark Davis was not going to fire Jon Gruden. Mark Davis was not going to request his resignation. Mark Davis was not going to accept his resignation. In those 2 sentences, in those 8 words, that's my assessment of it. He's not happy that the NFL pushed his head coach out the door. Right or wrong?
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
He's not happy that it happened.
Well, right. It seems like he feels like this was something that the NFL should just push on him instead of giving him the right amount of time to make a decision on his own, which, frankly, again, even if we look at this in a way and I guess interpret it in the most positive light for Mark Davis, you had all of this information for some period of time, whether it was hours, whether it was days. There was enough information to make some sort of assessment, make some sort of decision in regards to your head coach. And I get from the standpoint of Gruden was Mark Davis's white whale, right? This is the guy that he said he'd been courting for 6 years to come and coach this team, and he got him, and they moved to Las Vegas, and especially this year, it seemed like things were on the rise. But at the same time, when you have all of this information, and it's unclear exactly what it is that you're going to do with it, from a league standpoint, kind of makes sense that somebody had to be pushed into something, right? And so that's why I found it pretty inappropriate that Mark Davis only made a statement he made to apparently Paul Gutierrez of ESPN and not in the room with the rest of the media. And why is it that Mike Mayock has to answer for all of these things when it's your decision and it's your franchise? That, to me, is a total abdication of leadership. And, if I were part of the Raiders organization, I'd see that, and that would make me at least a little bit uncomfortable.
That's a great point. The counter to that would be that perhaps Mark Davis, who some would say has little or no self-awareness, has sufficient self-awareness to know that if he were the one to face reporters and answer questions, it would not go well for him or for the team. And if you've got the professional broadcaster who you've now put in charge, I'm just saying Mark Davis may not be able to adequately communicate whatever his innermost thoughts are. Even if the innermost thoughts are all positive, he may not be able to get it out the right way. And I'm not excusing it. I'm just trying to understand it. Because you would think that the owner would be there front and center. I agree with you. You would think the owner would be there front and center.
I don't know, man. I just don't think it's fair when you're putting all of this on somebody who wasn't there and who's Mike Mayock didn't have anything to do with this. He just didn't. It's not like Mike Mayock was courting Jon Gruden for years. I don't know. And I understand that Mark Davis probably has a self-awareness to understand that, Mike Mayock is going to look a lot better in the press conference than he would. But I don't think that excuses the behavior. And I don't think you're trying to do that either. But I don't like it. It's your
I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to understand it.
It's fair. That's fair. But it's your team. You sign the checks. If it's you that is doing all of these different things for the organization and your franchise is, like I was saying, it's kind of rudderless, be the rudder, be the anchor. That's leadership to me. And to not see it at all, I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Well, and let's be realistic about it. And this is one of the reasons I'm fascinated by the business that is the NFL. You've got 32 multi-billion-dollar organizations, the value of which is going up all the time. And you have two types of owners, except in Green Bay, obviously, because you don't have an owner. It's publicly held.
Yes.
Otherwise, two types of owner. The person who made a crap load of money in some other line of work and decides, I want to have a football team, and I think I'm smart enough to run it well. And a lot of times they find out they ain't. The other kind of owner is the member of what they call the Lucky Sperm Club. And that's what they call it, because that's the person who's in the right place at the right time when mom or dad dies, or when the spouse dies, or when the sibling dies, and they don't have the skills or abilities. They don't know what they're doing. They act like they know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And Mark Davis, frankly, the prevailing view among those in his peer group of owners is that he doesn't know what he's doing, and they would very much like him to get rid of the team. And this whole Las Vegas thing kind of fell into his lap. He discovered plutonium by accident. He's the toast of the town. And what makes it so comical, I mean, if you think the premise of Ted Lasso is a little far-fetched, the premise of the modern-day Raiders organization is even more far-fetched, where a guy who has no business running an NFL team is running it well by all appearances, except today, Myles. And today, and I'm agreeing with you, the fact that he did not face the reporters today confirms what people around the league believe. He should not be the person who owns the Raiders.
No. Well, and yeah, like I said, it's just when you're comfortable speaking with reporters one-on-one, and you go back a couple of years ago and you see the things that he said, dropping F-bombs about the Oakland A's front office and the city of Oakland, but you can't come out and answer questions about your team and the man that you hired who denigrated the franchise and is antithetical, apparently, to everything that the Raiders have ever stood for. That's on you. And so that's why it really kind of bothers me. Just the two sides of this, right? Because if you're comfortable, like I said, dropping F-bombs, talking about the place that you're leaving, but you're not comfortable going in front of reporters and kind of taking some accountability and going through the process of what this was, and you leave somebody else who had nothing to do with it to explain it for you, that's not leadership to me. And I agree with you. It's just, it shows that maybe the guy really doesn't have a clue what he's doing.
And I really do think the bottom line is he was so smitten with Jon Gruden. He so badly wanted to keep Jon Gruden as a coach. If he would have started speaking extemporaneously today, and Myles, you know it, I know it, it's not an easy thing to do. None of us are operating off of a teleprompter. We say what pops into our brain and migrates to our mouth. If you're not skilled at that, and you truly believe that you got railroaded into telling Jon Gruden, if you don't quit, I'm going to have to fire you, you may say something extremely unfortunate that gets you in hot water, and maybe you end up not owning the Raiders by the time it's all said and done.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.